in the last section, we started working on our image list widget. Before we add any methods to this thing, I want to make sure that it gets displayed by the app widget. So I'm going to flip over to my app.dart file. At the very top, I'm going to import the image list widget that we just created. So I will import from the widgets folder the ImageList.dart file, like so. Now to make sure that our app widget shows the image list, I'm going to find the app states builder method. Here's build right here. And somewhere inside of here, we need to create a new instance of image list. That's going to make sure that anytime the app widget shows on the screen, it will also show the image list widget. At present, our scaffold widget has a body parameter of that text counter. Now we don't really need to show that text counter anymore, so I think that we should probably replace that text widget and instead show an instance of the image list. So for the body parameter right here, I will create an instance of image list. Now anytime that we create our copy of image list right here and try to show it on the screen, the image list is definitely going to need that list of all the image models that we have fetched so far. So we need to take this list of images and pass it down to the image list widget. So to do so, I'm going to go back to the image list constructor right here, and I will pass images into it. Okay, so that looks good. We've now communicated our list of images down to the image list. However, you'll notice we got the red squiggly right here. It's because we are trying to pass down an argument to the image list, but we have not yet configured the image list constructor to accept a list of images. So to make sure that the image list expects to get this list, I will open up my ImageList.dart file again, and I'm going to add a constructor method to this thing that's going to accept that list of images and assign it to an instance variable. I'll first put together the image list constructor. And this thing is going to accept a parameter as the first argument. We'll say this.images. And so because we put down this.images, that is assuming that we're going to have an instance variable called images. So I will say, just as we have before, we want a list that's going to contain image models, and we want to call that images, like so. Now, when I do so, I'm going to flip over this thing right here. You notice I've got a little error on image list. One of the errors that we have at present is something that says that we are missing a implementation of the build method. Okay, well, that's to be expected, no problem there. But then we've got a second error. This one says that our class inherits from a class that is marked as immutable, and therefore should also be immutable. Or another way that it puts it is to say that all the fields or all the instance variables on this class must be final. So we're seeing that error message right there because of how we defined this instance variable right here. So let's take a quick pause. We're going to come back and talk about why we're seeing this error message. And it's going to tie back into that whole idea of how stateless widgets are supposed to have data that does not change over time. So quick break, and I'll see you in just a minute.